He said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words, what I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity. That was his phrase, change the course of humanity.
So if you don't know what that is the Shawn Ryan show. He had Sam Shoemate as a guest yesterday discussing the Cybertruck bomber in Vegas that happened on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
So he posted this. He posted on X that it was going to drop, and it was, going to be quite a video, and that he was actually going out of town, and he would not be on social or anything like that. That he would have his producer, handling the account. So it's a lot going on.
So yeah, so on this episode, it was about an hour long, and they discussed. He had a conversation with this Sam Shoemate. Evidently, the Matt Livsberger actually contacted him via email prior to what happened on the first.
And in this video, he like Kyle said, it's about an hour long, maybe a little longer than that, and he goes into detail. And so we're going to kind of just show some clips. Definitely recommend watching the whole thing. I think it is really interesting. I know that there's been a lot of buzz about it on X today, as well as even last night. Some people saying, they're skeptical. It's just everyone's just kind of, I think, processing it, digesting it, and it's just wild. So we'll just get into it and show a little more of the video.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the next clip, and this will kind of talk about it a little bit. Then he'll actually read the email.
Mm-hmm.
Normal day is shot, and I didn't know what I want to do. Do I sit on this? Do I do nothing with it? I've got to tell somebody. I've got to tell the FBI at least, because this is huge. This is all over the news. And then I was like, well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Shawn Ryan, so let me get this to Shawn Ryan, see if I can get with him. And I had a buddy who knew your producer, and we went from there. But
wow. Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operation Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comm system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice, and he goes, you said that word V-bid. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a V-bid, for your audience who has not been in the GWOT for the last 20 years, a V-bid is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive V-bid. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff. And this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with redacted IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, redacted can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Then he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate.
So basically, that's him reading this email that he received from Michael.
Matt.
Matt.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that was kind of the whole thing, was that he received this on
The 29th.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it said the 31st.
The email was actually on.
He first contacted him on the 29th.
Yeah. The email was sent on the 29th. He didn't check his email until I think the 30th or 31st. Because he had sent him an email. He didn't see the email.
Then
he messaged him. Yeah, it was dated the 29th. But he messaged him, and finally he read it on Tuesday, which was the 31st.
Mm-hmm. And then he asked him not to say anything until the 1st. To the 1st,
yep. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy. You could take the email and break it down. I don't know. Me reading the email.
If you want to go pull it up on another page.
We could pull it up on here, and we'll get into what's going on this here in just a minute.
It says the 31st. I think he initially contacted him.
Yeah. See, this is the initial.
Yeah, it says, do not message me. I will send out updates via both Signal and email. But trust me, you're going to want to be involved. And then that was when he was saying, I do not want to be involved.
Yeah.
But I think it was too late at that point. And I think so we can kind of give you a little bit of a backstory. I don't really know. I didn't know anything about the Sam Shoemate guy, but apparently he has a website or some kind of group that is for military members and things like that to kind of network basically. Yeah. And so I think that's why he reached out to him, because they didn't know each other.
Right.
And so he reached out to him on, I guess, his platform or whatever.
Yeah.
And because it was DMs.
Yeah.
So it was either Instagram
DMs.
or
he originally sent him this. If you can see, look down at the bottom. This is the first email. This is the first part of the chain, because this is, you got to remember, this is response and all, and then going back. This was the last email that was sent on the 31st.
Right, but I was just saying that was how he first. Apparently, that's how he first got in contact with him, was through DMs on some kind of social media site. And then once they communicated on there, then he gave him his Signal and his email, and I guess that's how they started emailing each other.
Right.
But he mentioned something that he wanted this Matt guy wanted people to know, like he wanted to get the word out. And so I guess this was his attempt at trying to do that in the best way he could think of. And he asked for Shawn Ryan by name. He also asked for Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
He asked Fox News. He was trying to get in contact with someone who had
a big platform, and would listen to his story. Yeah.
Get the word out. So I found that really interesting. But when you get into the nitty gritty about what actually happened, and even the footage and the pictures and stuff of the Tesla truck, and what was in the back, and then what they found inside the truck, and then it's really peculiar.
Yeah. You could,
especially knowing more now, if this was really the guy that was in there, you know what I mean? Like which they're saying that it was, based upon his background, which he wasn't very old, right? I mean, he was kind of young, and I mean, if his first car was a 2006 Mustang,
he graduated in 2005
from high school.
From high school, yeah.
So he wasn't, he was very young.
Yeah.
You graduated in 2005? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty young. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
So what we have here, of course this email is just blown up online. Everyone's either trying,
they're being very skeptical.
They're very skeptical of it.
Be skeptical. Ask questions. I mean, you never know these days.
Some people believe it. Some people say it's fake, and this is someone on X trying to show, okay, this is fake because of spell check. You see all these different spell checks and all this mark here, but I'm gonna tell you what this is. Anyone that uses Apple will know that if you could take what they did, of course they're not going to bring his email up on his phone or his computer. He copied and pasted his email and put it in Apple Notes. When you put in Apple Notes, it'll do this. Your email is going to be yellow. It'll highlight it yellow. This is your cursor from where you were in Notes, and it will show all the spell correct in Apple Notes. So this is what's happening. And there's several people saying, oh, this is fake, because if this was an email and it was sent, that the spell check wouldn't be there. I mean, the explanation for that is they copied and put this in Apple Notes when they sent it to Shawn Ryan's producer so they could put it online.
They just forwarded it to him.
Yeah, so they forwarded it to him, and he put this in Apple Notes, took a screenshot of
just
it so he could
probably
put it.
Redact the.
So, I am leaning towards this as a legit email.
Me too. I mean, I feel like if this was fake, they would have made more of an effort to make sure that it looked perfect.
Yeah.
And even too, just watching his demeanor and watching them as they're communicating back and forth, it doesn't seem. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist by any means, but it doesn't seem. He seems a little nervous.
Yeah.
He seems nervous to be talking about it. He seems a little, on edge. So that, I don't know, that to me seems like he's being genuine and he's being honest.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if he's being honest about everything. I don't know. I mean, there could be some things that aren't disclosed. There could be, I don't know. And then also this isn't his story. This isn't his, email. He didn't write it. So it's like you're telling someone else that you don't even know. Like, that's gotta be weird. I mean, it's like this crazy thing happened and then you got this information. And then the next day you look on the news and you're like, holy crap, what's going on? And then they say that it's this guy and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, And I kind of feel like this is information that he didn't ask for, He didn't know this guy. He just happened to be on the receiving end of this information. And then he felt like he needed to do something with it. And so it just which is kind of crazy, that just so happens that he had a friend that knew Shawn Ryan's producer. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, And who knows if this is the only person that he reached out to? Maybe not. Maybe this is the only person that answered. You know, maybe this is the only person that actually had a connection and he was able to get, you know, have some kind of dialogue with. I don't know.
Well, he later on in this in the episode, Shawn Ryan, they paused the episode and checked their backlog of emails. They scrubbed their emails, and sure enough, he had contacted Shawn Ryan's producer or the show trying to get a hold of him
through their
so he had reached out to multiple people trying to
their
talk.
help desk, I think is what they called it, on their website.
Trying to get a hold of someone.
But it probably was in their spam or something, you know? I mean, and they, you know, how many people probably email them, you know?
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah. He's one of the largest podcasts there are, so he gets thousands.
People were saying stuff about that too, you know, like, oh, and then he just paused the show and went and checked, and it's like, well, I think that just goes to show you that yes, he probably had an idea of what they were going to discuss, and yes, he had an idea of what they were going to talk about, but I don't think that he knew everything before they started this interview, and that's kind of the whole point, you know? And so once they got into it, I think that probably was like, well, wait a minute, let's see if he tried to reach out to us. I mean, because this is not like something that you're just going to think. You see something crazy on the news, let me see if this person emailed me. Plus, they didn't even know who it was, you know? I mean, this happened the day before yesterday. So it's like they didn't even know who this person was. And it's kind of crazy to me how quickly they were able to identify. Yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks. There's question marks on both sides.
Very strange.
I can, you know, you could let your mind go in either direction. You could read this and you could really read his words, and you could say, you know, okay, he's heading, you know, he's trying to head to Mexico. He's going to a decision point to which way he's going. Just remember, he is active duty right now. He was at this time. He was active duty, and he was contemplating leaving the U.S., knowing he was still active duty.
Well, he was saying he felt like he was being followed and watched and listened to.
He tells you that, you know, right here, first off, I'm not under duress or hostile influence or control. And, you know, to verify who he is or his history, he talks about his first vehicle. Then he goes into his experience, what he knows. He talks about his past, the stuff that he did while he was with the military. That, you know, from kind of reading this, you could tell he's probably
give him some credibility.
Yeah, he's not happy about what had happened and what he was involved with. And he dropped some names of people that were, you know, he worked with.
Then the DEA agent. So apparently he's still
active.
So they didn't want to disclose his information. Right. But I can't remember. Maybe we can go back to the video. I know they were talking about that person had reached out to Sam.
Yeah, he had talked
wanting
to Sam.
to contact him or communicate with him before this.
Right. He wanted to make sure
interview.
That his name was not released because he still is an active agent with the DEA. So that's why his name is redacted.
I don't know. It's pretty wild.
This is pretty wild. And you can actually go and check. And in this episode, Shawn Ryan did some of his where he was talking about the strikes that were done that he was part of. You know, so they have been confirmed.
That he was there.
That those kind of strikes did happen. And
that he was there during that time too.
He was there during the time. And then his big concern is what happened then could be considered an act of war. Could be a war crime.
What's crazy too is these drones, because you know they've been talking about these drones for a while now. I haven't really talked much about them in the last few days, but you know that's been all over the place for a while, and this is kind of insane saying that it's China.
Yeah. But, you know, it's insane to know that that technology is there, and, you know, we and China both have it. And then China could possibly be behind.
I don't know. I'm just like, I guess in the back of my mind, I was like, it's probably our own government.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But, which I don't know which is worse, you know? This is just such a crazy time because it's like, you know, you have your suspicions, you know, you're like, well, but then when you're like, oh, this could be real. And I just kind of feel like that just, it's almost like Pandora's box has been opened and I don't think we can close it.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't either.
So where do we go from here? And I don't know, which I'm sure more will unfold as time goes on in the story. And there's already people out there that are trying to debunk this, that are trying to say, you know, that they're lying, that, you know, they're not credible and all of this. And I don't know. I think that without proof, you don't really, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that's just going around accusing people of lying isn't the right thing to do. But I think that I think it's fine to ask questions, and I think it's fine to say, hey, can you prove that this is a legitimate email? And then they have talked about that too. And they've been kind of reposting, because that was one thing that both of them were like, everything's going to be online. Yeah. All the documents are going to be online. Like they're trying to make, you know,
they want to be as transparent as they can with the information that they have was given. Yeah. So I'm sure there's going to be more and more come out with this. I've watched a couple of videos of the sheriff of Las Vegas talking, you know, and they've gotten information from Elon Musk as far as cameras from the vehicle, cameras from the charging stations. Mm-hmm. Well, in here he says that, you know, he's keeping up, you know, he's trying to stay public as possible, or in the public, visible, because he knows he's being followed.
Well, and I think that he wanted, maybe he just kind of had an idea, or kind of had a feeling that, you know, something was going to happen. And I think he wanted to be somewhat in control of the story. Yeah. You know, he didn't want someone to tell the story for him, and maybe. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if you can find the footage of the actual explosion of the Cybertruck. Because I had heard that they said that the vehicle went around the building one time and then came back and stopped in front of the Trump Tower or Trump Hotel.
So, and that's,
I don't know. And then how do you shoot yourself and then detonate the? Well, I don't know.
That could be a timer. But one of the things that Shawn talked about is there was no signature of the firearm. And the firearm used was a Desert Eagle. It's a pretty big gun. They make it in a 50 cal, or I think also a 9mm. But there's no signature of the gunshot. So if you're in a vehicle in the dark and you shoot, you know, there should be some kind of flash, you would think, inside the vehicle. That was not witnessed.
You mean in the video? In the video,
yeah. You know, there's no gunshot prior. So that raises questions. And then the scientists from Tesla gave them the information from the vehicle, and they have determined that the Tesla, during the time that he had the car, that it was never in self-driving mode, which means that someone would have been driving. Yeah, because I
thought about that too. I was like, what if they killed him and then they just remotely
drove
the car?
That's one of the first things. Like, okay, what if this is not him? How do they get him there? You know, did they kill him, drive back around, and that was what I was thinking. Parked, timer was set, and then it went off. So don't know. They did say that they ID'd him via his dental records from the DOJ provided dental records, and they also did say that his DNA did not match his recent child. So that raises a question: did he do this because he was upset because he was newly married with the new child that supposedly
Young
may
child.
not have been his.
And then wasn't there talk about him having an affair or her having an affair, or maybe that was because of the child. I don't know. That just seems like a lot of drama to me. Like
So I mean, but
speculation,
that's if you want to go on the
go down the rabbit hole, you can. There's plenty of them out there.
Conspiracy.
But it's funny because
the
he's
DNA
like,
didn't
first
match
off,
because it wasn't him in the vehicle.
yeah, that too. And then they said something about tattoos.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so he wasn't. There must have been enough. That's gruesome to think about. But I mean, because it was an explosion.
Yeah.
But there was documentation. There was a passport. There was an ID.
So his wallet was
military
recovered.
ID and all this stuff.
His wallet was
still
covered.
fine.
Some of his cards. His military ID was not in his wallet. It was out separate. His passport was recovered. I don't know. You look at the inside of the vehicle and how everything was just burned up, but then his military ID, which was not in his wallet, was on the floorboard of the vehicle, and it's barely burnt. So
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Like there's just some things that don't add up, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I was saying here, where he says, first off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. Like he wants to make sure that like this is not him having some kind of mental breakdown, extreme case of PTSD, or that he's being coerced or blackmailed, or
This is not an email from someone.
Very unusual.
This is not an email from someone who's fisting kill himself.
Yeah, that too.
He doesn't really talk about you can't see any sadness or any mental anguish or any kind of mental
or instability.
internal fight with what he has done. He just, even when he talks about what he did down before, it's not, he doesn't
seem confused.
He doesn't seem confused.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like, okay, I hated doing this. I can't live with myself for what I did. There's none of that there. He's writing this as fact to that could be checked on, researched. So this does not sound
verified,
like an email from someone who's going to kill themselves. I
think they talk about that too on the video too.
Yeah.
You want to go back to the video?
Well, I mean, it'd take forever to try to find that unless you
click on that. Let's see the connecting the dots part. The next chapter. Yeah.
Lineup. One is, like I had mentioned, well, let's talk about the guy's story. Obviously, he had a VBID. Obviously, he was in the military and served. And the thing that he was talking about in 2019, we pulled a report. This is from October 9th, 2019. UN report find alleged drug facilities were not lawful target airstrikes caused significant civilian casualties. The United Nations Special Report, which examines the impact on civilians of the United States airstrikes on alleged drug processing facilities on 5 May 2019 in Afghanistan, determines the operation caused a large number of civilian casualties. The report also examines the legal framework applicable to this incident. In June 2019, the UN Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, together with representatives of the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission, conducted a site visit to areas impacted by the strikes in Farah Province, Bakwa District, as part of its extensive fact-finding into the 5 May incident. The UN verified 39 civilian casualties, among them 14 children, 1 woman, from multiple airstrikes on more than 60 sites that the United States Afghanistan identified as drug production facilities in Bakwa District and in parts of neighboring Delaram District of Nimraz Province. Moreover, the UN is working to verify credible reports of at least 37 additional civilian casualties, the majority of whom were women and children. Although airstrikes on the alleged drug processing facilities had taken place before, this was the first time that UNAMA had received reports of large number of civilian casualties resulting from such an operation. And it goes on. I'm not going to read all this. We'll link the article here. But so that 100% lines up. The other thing, that really struck me is, like I had mentioned, after our phone call, I jumped in an interview. After the interview, checked my phone, and I had several Green Berets, former Green Berets, one still active. Actually, I'm just going to say it was Tim Kennedy sent me a message late last night about 9 p.m. and said, hey, I should have brought my phone up here, but hey, basically that USASOC wants to give me more context on what had happened on this guy. And so first I wasn't going to take the call because I don't trust the government anymore. I don't think anybody does. But I was on the phone with my producer, who was a naval surface warfare officer, and my attorney, Tim Parlatore. They said we should talk to him. So I called Tim, was really pissed off, reamed his ass about it, and then later apologized. But, I think you said you had mentioned that you had received a message from somebody that says nobody's heard of this guy. Tim sent me a picture of him shooting with this guy. And I don't know if I should release that photo or not, but Tim basically told me this. So I got the POA's number, the public affairs officer, sent it to Jeremy and Tim. He talked to them.
So this is all over too. Tim's done a couple interviews talking about this, about when his time on this reality show where him and Matt were in this competition together, and he talked about how,
But he didn't remember.
Because
he made a post about it on X, and then it was like,
well, so
what?
So
but I guess it was like
what had happened
on
this show. Matt didn't use his full name. He went under Matt Berger. So Matt Berg. So it took a minute for Tim to realize, put it together.
Plus, like I said, it's been a while too.
Yeah.
I don't know who this Dave.
That's I think that may be his producer.
The guy who asked is Dave Butler. He is the Army POA. Works directly for the Chief of Staff of the Army, 4-star General George.
Yeah.
What's a PAO?
I don't know. That's a military term I'm not familiar with.
I am definitely not.
I think they talk about it on here, but I can't remember what they said.
But they kind of go into it a little bit. Then they talk about, I kind of wanted to, because if we can, I don't know if we can, I know, bear with us. I appreciate, being patient with us because we're kind of like skipping around. But when they're talking about how, like what we were just talking about, like he didn't seem like he was suicidal.
Yeah, but that's what he's just talking about. What Tim was saying.
I know.
What do you want?
That. I think it must be that part. The incident theory. Gotta be, right?
I don't know.
Just in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very obvious why he did this, I think. He wanted to bring attention to the incident in 2019 that got covered up. Do you have any insight, any theories on this?
So we had a running theory downstairs. I've seen all of the conspiracies. I've seen all the questions about, all right, this guy is 20-year special forces. He just got done with team sergeant time. He is a very qualified and very capable Green Beret. Everybody I've spoken to who knew the guy prior, yesterday I spoke to several people, to include his old team leader, who's now lieutenant colonel, said he was fine. Nothing out of place. His mental state was not something that anybody was concerned about. His ex-girlfriend posted photos of him bragging about how he got a Tesla and all this other stuff. So stick with me here. very capable guy, but he loads the Tesla up, a Tesla, which Elon Musk brags about being bulletproof, right? So this is one of his selling points. It's bulletproof. We even saw Joe Rogan shoot an arrow at it and wasn't able to puncture this thing. So he loads up a Tesla knowing that it's going to, not explode like he wants it to with fireworks and a bunch of other junk when he can make a car bomb that's going to level this place.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. So the PAO, the Army PAO, is saying that the body inside the cab did not match the DNA of his child. All right. We also know that there was they said he was shot by a Desert Eagle. We know that there was no signature when it rolled up. So nobody shot themselves when it rolled up to it. You would have seen a large signature. Mr. Guns and Gear, he's on X. He goes into this a lot in depth. He's a firearms expert and he talks about this. And there's no signature. So this is what happens. You get a Tesla because you know it can drive itself up to the hotel, the Trump Tower. You put a body in it, roll it up. It's already burned up, or it's already shot, excuse me. You don't want to kill anybody because that's not the message you're trying to send. You're not trying to level the tower or kill a bunch of people. So you load it up with fireworks and a bunch of junk to send a message. And we know that his signal number or his signal safety number changed.
Oh, yeah.
That can't be done unless you're inside that signal account. And a lot of people conjecture, was the FBI inside his signal account, whatever else. But what if he accidentally changed his safety number, goofed up there? He rolled a body up in a Tesla specifically because a Tesla can drive itself up to the tower, and did what he did to send a message to expose his stuff. And he's still alive out there somewhere.
Well, the other
answers a lot of questions.
The other thing is maybe the FBI wasn't in his phone. Maybe, I mean, this guy's obviously very competent. I mean, he's got a TSSCI clearance. I'm sure the polygraph has been associated with USASOC. Obviously, he was on this operation in 2019. By the way, the general in charge of that was General Miller. You'll see that in the email that we post on X later after this interview comes out. Maybe he changed his number on purpose and switched phones because he obviously was tipped off or conducted his own counter surveillance and caught Homeland or FBI tracking him. And so I think there's a very good possibility that that Matthew Livelsberger might be still alive.
Okay.
So the sheriff said that during the investigation there was 2 different phones in the car, and that they were trying to access both of them, but they show pictures and they're burnt up. I don't know how they can get anything from them, but they said that they were in the process of trying to access those phones.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the part I was wanting to show, and I had forgotten about the signal safety number, but that was also a thing too.
Yeah.
But they do raise some good points here.
Good questions.
Like he didn't seem suicidal, right?
No.
There wasn't a suicide note. He didn't seem super emotional, which granted, through an email, it's kind of hard to tell. But still, and like they were saying, he was trying to, to send a message here. He didn't want to cause a lot of destruction because if he wanted to, he could have chosen a different vehicle. He could have put actual bombs in it, and it would have really caused a lot of damage and harmed people. It would have hurt. It would have hit the hotel. It would have caused, because even the glass, like nothing was damaged at the hotel. It's kind of insane, really, because it was parked right in the front. I don't know if you've seen the video of the explosion, or I don't know if we can find it, but it's literally just kind of happened inside the vehicle, looked like, and it kind of went up. It didn't blast out.
Yeah. So
it didn't impact the hotel at all, and like the glass and everything was intact because the entire front, the doors and windows and everything were intact. So that's kind of crazy. It's almost like, okay, and that was my thing at first. I was like, why a Tesla and why a Trump Tower? Like, was he trying to say, hey Elon, hey Trump? Was he trying to get their attention? I don't know. Or did he pick a place that would definitely make the news? It would definitely draw attention, you know, because of, I don't know, which then kind of looks like this was very well thought out. I don't know. There's so much to speculate here. I mean, it's really, it's just, it's a crazy story. It's a really crazy story.
Yeah, this is a really crazy story, and
it just gets crazier, it seems like.
Yeah. we're gonna be following this one. I wanna see where this goes, and
And then some people are really, you know, not just skeptical. I mean, they think that it's all BS. They think this whole thing is BS. They think Shawn Ryan and Sam Shoemaker BS and that all this is. And I'm like, I just think like this guy, what's his name?
Yeah, this guy. Well, this is not his post. Someone else copying it or posting it. Yeah, but let's see.
Ryan Macbeth or whatever his name is.
Something like that. You know, this dude, he's the one trying to debunk the email, saying that it was just because of the.
But he
the
had
spell
beef with
correct and
Sam
all.
Shoemate before, right?
Yeah.
And then he was saying like shame on Shawn Ryan for not vetting him or whatever. And it's like, you know, he does. You know, he vets everyone that goes on his show. But I mean, I'm sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm actually not, but I would imagine that he does. It's just, but my thing is like, I guess you just pay attention to people's, the way they communicate, the way they carry themselves. Like they're, I don't know. He just kind of seemed like a jerk to me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
I mean, if you're right and you know you're right and you know that something has been put out there that's false, why would you be a jerk about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like, yeah, that's funny. That's exactly what it made me think of.
Yeah.
The guy off of Jurassic Park. But I don't know. I just feel like you don't have to be a jerk about it. Like if you are calling BS on someone, you know, just be like, yeah, I know that's not true, and here's my proof.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they're lying. And then that's, you know, you don't have to be a jerk. I don't know. I think that just makes you look I don't know. Just makes you look kind of bad.
Yeah, I don't trust anything that Ryan Macbeth says.
I'd never even heard of the guy, honestly.
I think he's
morning.
Got a little bit of jealousy or something with Ryan.
He was not
because
he was always picked last. You know, he was never
his YouTube channel is not as popular.
Right? He's not as cool as Shawn.
And he looks like he's someone that just sits behind a computer and eats Twinkies all the time.
Yeah. Oh, you're being mean. Ooh.
Well, man, it's the truth. I don't care.
And he could, you know, he could. You never know.
Well, he admitted. I saw where he admitted that he's a admitted smoker and alcoholic.
Do you think he was being sarcastic though?
I don't know. I don't care about that.
I don't care either.
Shit.
Well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So.
But yeah, there's been a lot of talk back and forth. It's really interesting, and I don't know. I want to know. Yeah. I want to know though. I'm like.
I know you spent
a
lot of time on Twitter reading.
I do.
I
have in the last couple of days. I took a break. I did take a break though. I took a break from social media altogether for from Christmas to New Year's, and then on New Year's Day, bam.
Yeah, and we haven't put out any videos. We've been kind of relaxing and stuff, but
spending time with family, and hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and
a
happy New Year. Even though
it started off crazy.
I mean, really, I am watching the Rose Parade, drinking a mimosa, having a great time, and then Kyle started playing this new game, the new
Indiana
Jones game, which is really cool if you haven't played it. And so then we were in here, playing the game, but I left the TV on and then go out there and then they're talking about the New Orleans thing. And then this, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. It's crazy times.
Yes. It's like, God.
Yeah, this is crazy times. I think it's only going to get crazier. So
got to be ready.
Keep your loved ones safe. Tell them you love them every day.
Have a plan. I think for your family.
And stay away from big crowds. Stay away from big crowds right now.
Probably that worries for the best.
Yeah, it worries me. But yeah, there's a couple other topics that we want to do a video on. There's actually another topic on this episode that I want to discuss, but I want to discuss it on a separate video.
Okay.
And you know what they talked about at the end of this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, we're probably going to do another video and just discuss that. So stay tuned for that one. It's scary. It's very scary. But anyway, if you stay to the end, we sure appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
do.
Thank you for watching. I know some kind of drug on a little bit, but there was a lot to go over. We appreciate you staying with us.
And
if you
please
did.
watch. I mean, if this is something that interests you and you have not watched the interview, I recommend it.
Watch the Shawn Ryan
Just
episode.
for your own information, you know.
It's very good, and you can tell both of them are disturbed by this. To me, I can read people pretty well, and just by sitting watching how uncomfortable they are discussing this, I think this is legit. So I don't know. We'll find out.
Yes.
We'll find out. But anyway,
At least it's enough to scare them, which should scare us probably.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much, and until next time, we'll see y'all.